Well, my goldfish tank is next. Yes, I know I have one koi in there. Just because there's not enough room in my 75. I'll move him over when I get to 125. But for now, he's fine in there. He was a lot smaller than the others anyway. But he's grown a lot. Anyway, this tank here is my next one for deep substrate. I've just drained the water down. Now, what I think I'm going to do, instead of take everything out of the tank, is I'm just going to shove the ornaments and filters to one end. And then work on one end. And then as I get it situated, I can move like things back on top of the substrate. Shift them around as I do it. This tank's going to be a little harder to do because I didn't really give myself a lot of space between here and the tank. As you can see, I can't even really make a fist or fit my arm in there good. So it makes it a little make it a little hard to work in there. But I'll get her done. I forgot to stop and film a little bit. I shoved everything just barely past the middle when I first started. And then when I got this bit here done, I shoved everything on top of that so that I could continue on going that way. Now I have to move those two covers off so I can get into that side, because I can't quite reach that far into the tank from this end. And that'll finish up. It looks a little junked up and stuff, but once the sand's in place, then you just move all the ornaments back where they belong, and job done. Now I think we'll have another stab at explaining how this works. I listened to my last video and was like, really? Well, anyway, you put food in, the fish eat it and digest it, then it falls to the substrate. Then sometimes the fish will grab it again and digest it again several times, and then it slowly seeks itself down into the substrate. Now, sometimes if you have these guys over here, these little ice cream cone snails, they'll do the same. They'll digest it, and as they get rid of it, they'll usually be down in the substrate, bringing it down, bringing the waste material down lower as well. In there's 12 microorganisms that live in the top half of your substrate. They will also be digesting, waste material from them, and each time it's digested, and waste material gets smaller and smaller, and it gets pulled farther and farther down at the same time as the waste material is being used. Then you get to the bottom half of the substrate where this here slowly blocks out the oxygen. There'll be microorganisms just at the line, and they'll surf that line of oxygen and no oxygen, and that's where they'll thrive, some of them, and they'll be digesting it as well and breaking it down even more. Then it gets down into the bottom part here, which is where what some people would consider the magic happen. It'd be, one second. Alright, I'm back. Now, down here you get the denitrifying bacteria, which means bacteria that thrives where there's no oxygen. This is where it consumes your nitrites, which you water change for most of the time. As you can see here, it converts it into gases. It takes about 6 months for this to work. And that's where it'll break down more waste material into like a gas. Now, that gas is actually toxic to your fish, but it doesn't really matter, because as soon as it works its way to this area where there's oxygen transforms it into laughing gas, I believe, or something like that. And it just burps its way up through the substrate. So there's nothing to fear from that type of gas, because if you're running an air stone or you got no oxygen in your tank, it doesn't really matter anyway, because no oxygen, your fish are going to die. So there's nothing to worry about, because you got plenty of oxygen in your tank. If you're worried about it, run an air stone. Anyway, that's how it works. And that deep-fried bacteria also leaves a waste behind, kind of like a mold probably, or something like that. It will eventually turns into dirt, just like, you know, Mother Nature does in real life, right? And creates the dirt. And then you actually get a dirty tank. Even if you didn't do any dirt down here, eventually you'll end up with a dirt-like substance, because it's basically all fish waste and poop. And then your plants, once you get some rooted plants in here, their roots will come down and they'll use that, and they'll pull it up, and then the fish will feed off the plants, and then the whole cycle starts over again, just like the real planet. Just a round circle, around and around. That's how I understand it. I probably got a lot of terms wrong, because, well, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm just a common sense feller, as one would say. Ain't that right, yappers? You like the sand already? No, it's got no poop in it yet. Yeah. Well, you'll have plenty of poop soon as you start pooping. That's how the fish world is. Eat and digest. That's their main purpose, I guess. Well, that looking pretty for us. Well, anyway, that's it for this tank, folks. I'm just going to fill it up, and then I'll show you it looks like full. Here we go. A little bit cloudy, but not too bad. It'll be crystal clear like over there tomorrow morning. Wonder how much I got for substrate. Got about 4 inches. That's good. Right, yappers? Yeah.